guys, so today I wanted to talk about compositing because you've seen a lot of my composite work in my fine art work, but even most traditional portrait photographers will use some compositing from time to time. Back in the days of film, this wouldn't have really been possible to do, but now with technology and Photoshop, it's really easy to be able to swap faces or eyes or heads or entire people in photographs to make one really perfect photo, or at least the closest thing you can get to one. So I wanted to start by showing you a family portrait that I shot recently. Thank you, tripod and remote trigger. This is my side of my mom and dad's family. And when you have little kids, it gets really tricky to get one really nice photo because you don't know if they're all going to be looking at the camera at the same time or if they're all going to be smiling at the same time. Sometimes when you're trying to wrangle your kids, parents end up looking at their children. And so to create this picture was a composite of multiple images. So if you see here in this PSD file, I have 7 layers. I wanted to show you the original image and then each layer how it was added. So this is the original photo. It's not a bad photo, but you can see my daughter's not looking at the camera. We've got one of the twins covering his face. The other one is looking across the picture, probably over at either Grandma and Grandpa or us. My youngest brother is kneeling, and after the fact I realized it would have looked better if he'd been standing. And then my littlest nephew is crying, and so I wanted to make this look better because I had the ability to do that with compositing. So first I'm going to show you the pictures I had to work with. So this is the first one. You can see the things that make it not ideal. Little guy's crying. Youngest brother's looking down. Us 3 look pretty good. My parents look pretty good. My dad could be smiling better. And we don't have the twins looking at the camera. And you can tell my sister-in-law is kind of thinking something, so it's not her best smile either. Okay, so here we have my brother Richard's messing with the baby. My sister-in-law's talking. My other sister-in-law looks great. We've got one baby with his mouth open. Again, my mom and dad could be smiling better, but my youngest brother looks great in this one, and my daughter's looking at the camera. My smile looks a little forced. My husband has not moved because he knows how this works. And this is the picture that I used as my base, if you'll recall. So this is the photo that I decided to build from, mainly because my parents looked really good at this in this photo, and they're kind of the center of the photograph, and I felt like it would be easiest to swap everybody out around them, because I did actually start with a different photo, and it didn't blend as well as I wanted, so I came back and started over and started with this one. So, or maybe it was this one. Nope, it was this one because my dad's smile is better. Because I think I started with this one, but it just didn't look as good as this one. So now let's go and look at these layer by layer, because this is what a lot of portrait photographers will do to get those great photos. So the first person I swapped out was the baby and his dad. So we're going to zoom in here. And the reason this is pulled out so far is because I never know quite how large a photo someone's going to want to order or how it might end up being cropped in the final image. So I like to give myself plenty of room, and I shoot high res enough that it's not an issue. So again, we swapped out Richard and the little guy in this one. But really what you're seeing is it's Richard's smile and the little guy's face is what got swapped. From the layer mask standpoint, it looks like this. So that is all that got swapped. So I pulled that from one of the other images that I just showed you. Some of these head swaps are from the same image, and some are from different ones. I have found that, especially in a photo like this, it is easier to use the marquee tool, which is this, and select whoever it is you're wanting to replace. So in another photo, I would use the marquee tool like this, then switch it to the arrow tool, and then I would grab and pull that subject into the photo that I'm wanting to composite the person into. It gives you a little less photo to have to mask off, and I just find it to be a lot simpler that way. So at least in this style of photo with this many people, it was just easier. So yeah, We switched out the baby and his daddy. Next, we're looking down here. So, you can see Stacy's trying to wrangle the little guy. This one's looking across over at me, or somebody over there, probably Grandma and Grandpa or Marley. And so I simply took another picture where these three looked awesome, and I brushed them in. Again, I used the marquee tool. You can see that it's just a little square of a picture. And then I brushed off what I didn't want to be visible. And that's how we got that. Now, the benefit of using the tripod here is you can see that it makes it really easy to blend things in. Her feet didn't move at all from one picture to the next, so it made it simple to composite that over. Same thing with the little guy up here. Dad's arms barely moved, so to brush over was very simple. Okay, next I believe is me? Nope, my daughter. So she's got her eyes closed and she's looking in my direction. So I simply brushed her in from another photo as well. Now, granted, she was super tired that day, so we didn't get smiles. And thankfully, I have a lot of my family and a lot of my clients understand that sometimes you're just not going to get the perfect photo of your kids. This day was an exhausting day for her. It was busy and full of family, and so she just wasn't her smiley self for these pictures, and that's all right. This is her serious face. She's serious sometimes too. So yeah, this one was a little complicated in that Dad's arms moved a little bit, so it took a little finessing to get things to blend the way I needed them to. Okay, then it was me, and the only reason I changed me is because I liked being a little closer and I liked my posture better. I felt like I looked strained because I'm actually like doing a wall squat sort of a thing. I'm not touching, my butt's not touching anything. I'm holding myself in this position, and I feel like you can see it in my face, like my nostrils are flared, and I didn't like that. So I felt like that looked a little more relaxed and natural. So that's why I swapped me out, which is probably just me being nitpicky, but that's why I'm good at what I do. Okay, so then, as I mentioned, I felt like if you look at the picture, it's all about the shape people's bodies are making. So with my youngest brother down here, it felt like there was a lot of height and then it teetered off, and I like balance in my pictures. If I had moved Richard and his family over and centered them, this would have been fine. It wouldn't have been a problem. But because they were off to the left a little bit and it would have been really challenging to move them to the center, I opted to make my youngest brother be the same height as them so that it balanced this image. Now, one of the things is I didn't take a photo of him from this original setup because in every photo from this setup, he was kneeling. So what I ended up doing is we actually took another set of photos that had my grandmother in it, and I simply took him out of the one where he was standing in the photo with my grandma. Now, the other thing to note is that I had to build some of this. Like, his pants technically probably wouldn't be this wide, and his arm probably wouldn't be this wide either. But this was the easiest way to get it to all blend in and look believable. So I actually built part of his body from nothing because I had to make this look right, with his height and everything too, because I don't want him to be shorter than he actually is. And then the last thing I did, and I know what it is I changed out Richard a little bit more. In one of the photos, he was rotated a little more towards the camera, which is a little more flattering, because he's a very built guy, actually, and I felt like this did not do his figure justice, so I took him from another photo where it was a bit more flattering and just blended that together too. And that's how I built this composite piece. So the before photo again was this. It's not a bad photo. Sure, it could be improved, and the way we improved that was by taking individual segments of individual people and building a photo that looked a little bit better. This is really simple. It's literally just using your marquee tool, your arrow tool, and layer masks. Anybody can do this. The key to it is using a tripod so that everything stays the same. The only thing that moves are people, and if you can convince people, like the adults in a picture, to stay as still as possible, it makes it infinitely easier. So I hope that that was interesting or helpful. If you guys have more questions, I would love to hear them, and I'm happy to do more tutorials. If there's something that you're interested in seeing, just let me know, leave it in the comments below, and I will work on creating a video for you. Thanks guys, see you soon.